Now, the important question is, should you read the old NCERT with respect to Satish Chandra? The answer is definitely no. Okay? You don't need to buy or read Satish Chandra. Rather, focus on the AI sources which I'm going to tell you, and also the 7th standard and also 12th standard NCERTs.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily.
Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
Good day everyone, Sreejay here, and welcome to yet another video of Civilsdaily IAS. Today I'll be dealing with on how to study medieval history. Now this is actually the second part of the video. In the first part, I deal with how to study ancient history. If you have not watched the first part, go and watch the first part, then come on to this video. So how to study it? As you can see here, in case of medieval history, 1 question, 3 question, 4 question, 4 question, 1 question have come in the last previous years. So you can say that an average of 2 to 3 questions come every year. Out of that, 1 would be very difficult and 2 would be, I would say, easy to medium category. So what are the sources? Just for the 2 to 3 questions which is asked in case of medieval history, out of that 1 would be very easy, 2 would be medium to difficult, and 1 out of that 1 would be extremely difficult, wherein if you have read all the sources you won't even get the same. So regarding the sources, let me tell you that out of the 2 to 3 questions which is asked in medieval history every year, 1 would be very easy and 2 would be, I would say, easy to medium. So should you read multiple sources to get these 2 to 3 questions? The answer is a big no. Rather, what do you have to do? You have to restrict yourself to 7th standard NCERT, 12th standard Nevala NCERT, new NCERT, the themes, and make 1 page of notes regarding the important areas. Okay, so what do you have to do? Now, the important question is, should you read the old NCERT with respect to Satish Chandra? The answer is definitely no. Okay, you don't need to buy or read Satish Chandra. Rather, focus on the AI sources which I'm going to tell you, and also the 7th standard and also 12th standard NCERTs. Now, what are the important topics that you need to make notes on, or what are the important topics that you need to focus on? First of all, it's regarding the economy and administration. Because when you see and look at the PYQs asked, you'll understand that mostly they have focused on 4 dynasties here. The Delhi Sultanate, Mughal, Chola, and also Vijayanagara. The rulers, kingdoms and dynasties, rulers and their contributions, war, conquest and invasions, medieval art and architecture, religious philosophies, sites, literature, travelers. Now these are the important areas wherein you have to focus on medieval history. Now, you can see here, with respect to medieval administration, more than 10 questions have come in the last 10 years. Okay? So, therefore, focus more on the medieval architecture. Now, which dynasty should we focus is the more important question, right? So, when you look at here, this is a question with respect to Delhi, Mughal architecture, Vijayanagara here, Mahatara Pataliga, Iripatti Tanur Gadiyas, Kulle Baba, Drona Baba, Fanam, Hundi, Postgupta, feudal systems which came before the Delhi Sultanate. You can see here another question with respect to Delhi Sultanate. Jagirdars also with respect to Delhi and Mughal Empire. So, when you actually analyze the PYQs, you will understand that most of the questions with respect to administration has come from the Mughal Empire, the Delhi Sultanate, Chola, and also Vijayanagara. So, my question is, should you focus on the administration and economy of Rashtrakuta, Palas, Gujarapatis, other Rajput dynasties, Bahmanis? Should you read the economy and administration of all the dynasties? The answer is definitely no. Okay? Because UPSC focuses on the economy and administration of only 4 these dynasties. Also, read the same in case of land revenue administration for these dynasties. Now, another important question is, why does UPSC restrict itself to these 4 dynasties? The answer is that when you look at the NCERTs, you will understand that only these dynasties have specific chapters or even topics in the NCERTs. Now that is why, now if UPSC is going to ask you about the economy and administration, it should be mentioned in the NCERTs, right? or they should have a separate chapter in NCERTs, right? Now, only these dynasties have separate chapters in NCERTs. That is why I believe UPSC actually restricts land revenue, economy and administration with respect to only these 4 dynasties. So as you can see here, separate chapter regarding Vijayanagara in 12th standard NCERT. In this case as well, separate chapters regarding Mughal, separate portions with respect to Delhi Sultanate, and also with respect to the Vijayanagara dynasties. I mean the Chola dynasties. So that is why UPSC restrict itself to mainly these 4 dynasties. Okay? Now don't focus on the Marathas, don't focus on all the other different dynasties out there. Focus on only these 4 dynasties. Now, regarding the other dynasties that I just mentioned, okay, let's say about Marathas. Let's say Gahadawalas, which the Pratihwaras basically split into all these different dynasties, right? Gahadawalas, you have Chandela, you have Paramaras, you have Pratiharas, you have all these different dynasties. Now, in case of all these less important dynasties, how does UPSC ask questions? Now, UPSC asks these questions in this manner. Okay, you just need to have an idea regarding what time period the dynasty were, the important capitals of the same, and also the important kings or the rulers with respect to same. Okay, so in case of most important dynasties, let's say Mughal, Delhi Sultanate, Chola, Vijayanagara, dive deeper with respect to society, economy, administration, and also land revenue. With respect to all the other dynasties, what do you need to know? You need to know about the time period. You need to have a chronological order regarding the same. Also focus on the important rulers and the kings with respect to all the other dynasties. Okay? As you can see here, UPSC have asked a question regarding the chronology. Here, who among the following were known as the Kuladaran? Here, again, a chronology question with respect to the post-Gupta period. So what do you need to do? In case of all the other medieval dynasties, the time period, and also who were the founders and who were also the important rulers. Okay? But let me tell you, with respect to mains, UPSC can ask about the architecture. As you can see here, in the case of Pallavas of Kanchi, UPSC have asked in 2024. In 2025, UPSC have asked about the architecture with respect to Chandelas. So, architecture in case of mains is a different scenario. Okay? In this video, we are going to only talk about the prelims point of view. So, what do you need to know? Or how should you make your note? First of all, the dynasty. Let's say with respect to Palas. Now, even Palas, UPSC asked in 2023 with respect to the relation between Pala and the development of Buddhism. Time period 700 to 1200. Founders Gopala. In case of description, what do you need to add? Palas basically patronized Buddhism. You can mention about the Vikramshila University. You can mention about the Autantapuri University. You can mention about the miniature paintings, because the Pala scrolls were the first miniature paintings in India. One of the first miniature paintings in India. So this is the way you have to make notes. Let's say, for example, Chandela dynasty, time period, important ruler, and the important contributions of the same. So with respect to all the lesser dynasties, make a one-page note regarding the dynasty, time period, founders, and also the important descriptions with respect to the same. Okay? Also, have a clear-cut idea of the chronology in mind. So let's say you take a particular place, let's say Gujarat. Now, try to identify all the kingdoms that ruled Gujarat in a chronological manner. Let's say you had the Mauryas first, then the Indo-Greeks came, then the Shakas came, then the Guptas, Maitragas, followed by Chalukyas, which was followed by Gujaratiharas, then the Western Chalukyas or the Solankis, then the Waghela, Delhi Sultanate, Gujarat Sultanate, then the Rana Sangha. Okay? Or with respect to the Bengal region, you try to memorize or try to recall in this manner. Okay? Magadha, Mauryan, Shunga, Kanva, then came the Satavahanas, followed by the Gupta, then Gauda, Vardhana, Pala, then followed by the Sena, Khaljis, Bengal, Delhi, Sur, Afghans, Mughal, then the Nawaz of Bengal. Now, as you can see here, in this information, I have provided here Gajapati dynasty, right? Now, what was the time period of Gajapati dynasty? It was from 1434 to 1541, right? That is the only thing that you need to know about Gajapati dynasties and also the founder. Now, what did UPSC ask? A question. What did UPSC ask here? The Dutch established their factories and warehouses on the east coast on the lands granted to them by the Gajapati rulers. Now, you know that Gajapati rulers got terminated, or let's say they were overthrown by some other dynasty in the year 1571, in the year 1541, right? Now, Dutch came in early 17th century, in 1600. Now there is a gap of around 60 years here, right? So did the Gajapati rulers actually give the land to Dutch? It's not possible, right? So in this question as well, UPSC just expect you to have a chronological information regarding the Gajapati rulers. That's the only thing. Okay. And also when you read about the Vijayanagara dynasty, always it mentions about the different battles fought between the Gajapati rulers and also the Vijayanagara dynasties. So you just need to have an idea regarding that the Gajapati rulers were actually contemporaries of Vijayanagara dynasties and not the Dutch rulers. Okay. So also in case of some important rulers, you can dive a bit deeper. Okay, with respect to the important rulers such as Mughal Empire, you need to dive a bit deeper, or else in case of some Mughal rulers, in case of some important rulers, you can dive a bit deeper only if the information is mentioned in the NCERTs. Okay, you don't need to look elsewhere. If the information is there in the NCERTs, you focus on that. If not, you can just leave it. Now, this is one important area. Okay, as you can see here as well, the relation between Bahmani, the relation between Vijayanagara, and the relation between the Portuguese and the Dutch is one of the significant areas that UPSC has been asking. In the last 5 years, around 3 to 4 questions have come from the same. So focus more on the relation between Bahmanis, Vijayanagara in relation to the Portuguese and also the Dutch empires. Okay? Also, in case of medieval history, you need to focus on the wars, conquest and invasions, mostly with respect to the Turkish and Mongol invasions. As you can see here, this question with respect to Genghis Khan, arrival of Babur, and also in this question as well with respect to the first Mongol invasion. So focus more on the Islamic invasions and its impact with respect to the Mongol and also the Turkish invasions. So these are some of the areas that you need to focus. Now travelers, UPSC asked 3 questions. You can see here a question with respect to Nonis, here a question with respect to Traveneer as well. Now, with respect to travelers, it's also one of the favorite topic of UPSC. Even in 2025, UPSC asked a question regarding Fahiyan. So, in case of medieval as well, you can see here a question with respect to the foreign traveler and who discussed about the diamonds and mines. And also in this question, according to Portuguese writer, UPSC asked about the Nunis. So, focus on travelers. You can see here, number of questions have come from the different travelers. So, what do you need to do? Prepare a one-page note with respect to the same. Okay. So, what are the information that you need to have? First of all, the traveler's name, the time period, under which ruler or under whom was he the court poet of, and also what was his important work. So you can see here I have given information regarding Al-Biruni and also Marco Polo. So the name, the time period, from where he came, was he from Morocco, was he a Venetian traveler, which ruler or dynasty did he visit, and did he write any book with respect to same. So that is information that you need to have with respect to travelers. Okay? So in case of medieval history, let me finalize it for you. First of all, focus on the economy and administration of Mughal, Delhi Sultanate, Vijayanagara, and also the Cholan dynasty. Because in case of NCERTs, they have separate chapters. Dive very deeper with respect to the terms. If in case of NCERTs, there are any terms mentioned with respect to all these, because UPSC have asked about Sabha, Pargana, and all these different terms, right? So therefore, focus more on the terms, and also in case of Cholan Empire as well. Also, land revenue administration of Chola, Vijayanagara, Mughal, and Delhi Sultanate, be it the Sapti system, be it mansabdari, jagirdari, ijardari, zamindari. So the different systems are there. So therefore, focus on that. Travelers, court, and the time period. Make a one-page note regarding the travelers, from where they came, time period, and under which ruler. And also the description. Did they write about any book? In which port they visited? Okay. So, with respect to all the other less important dynasties, what do you need to focus? The chronology, the founders or the important rulers, and maybe if there is some important descriptions, let's say in case of Pala dynasty, they have did this, they have did that, right? Also in case of Rashtrakuta dynasty, the important rulers were Krishna, Bhima, and Krishna III constructed one of the most important structures in the Ellora cave. You can also mention some of the important descriptions with respect to same. Also, Bahmani Sultanate and Vijayanagara Empire and their relation with the Europeans, such as the Portuguese and also the Dutch, the early modern India, I would say. This is very important. And also the Turkish and the Mongol invasions. Now, these are the areas that you need to focus. Less important areas, I would say Bhakti and also Sufi saints. What do you need to do? You need to make a one-page note with respect to the Bhakti and Sufi saints. Let's say Bhakti. Who was the Bhakti saint? What was the time period? and what was the important contribution or the philosophy that they propounded. What are the less important areas? You can skip the dynasties and administration of all the less important dynasties, such as you don't need to know about the administration of Chandela dynasty. You don't need to know about the administration of, let's say, Solangi dynasties. Okay, these are some of the areas that you need to skip. So that is with respect to the medieval history. I hope all your doubts are clarified. Let me summarize it for you. In case of sources, stick to 7th standard NCERT and the 12th standard. Also, make a one-page note on all the other important areas that I have just showed you. Only 2 to 3 questions come every year. Out of that, 1 would be very easy. 2 would be, I would say, easy to hard. So therefore, you don't need to read multiple sources for the same. Also, to just save time and also to ease your preparation, make a one-page note with respect to all these. And these are some of the areas that you can provide less focus on and only provide focus on if maybe the Bhakti Sufi saint is asked in the current affairs. And also skip the dynasty and the administrative positions of all the lesser important dynasties. Okay? So that was regarding the medieval history. In the next session, in the coming session, I'm going to talk about how to study the art and culture as well. So I hope all of you had a wonderful session. See you on the next video. Thank you.